Happy Tuesday, everybody. Brian Batko and Ray Fittipaldo with you from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, two of your Steelers beat writers, with a Steelers practice report update brought to you by Savinas, Kane, and Gallucci, Pittsburgh's mesothelioma and asbestos lawyers with over 85 years of experience in the industry. Visit sdklaw.com. They've recovered millions for victims. They will make the commitment that you and your family deserve. And Ray, a couple big storylines today with the Steelers, their final practice ahead of the third and last preseason game in Carolina. I guess the big splashy one, I think a lot of us noticed it when we went out to the practice field today. Cam Heyward was in pads, in uniform. 97 was back, at least in the individual drills that we're allowed to take photo and video of at the start of practice. TJ Watt came over to us in the media and said, I've got a story for you guys. Basically, 97 looks great. Pay that man. So, he's on his side. Not that there was any doubt, but... And
that followed what? Jalen Ramsey said that on Cam's podcast.
Yeah,
and
Darius
Slay was on that podcast as well. I was here yesterday, Brian, on Monday, and Cam was doing his usual work with the trainers in the morning before practice, going through a very hard workout at the Steelers indoor facility. He has done some stuff on the field throughout his hold-in. Not a lot of team. Apparently, somebody said today he maybe took a few reps in team. I didn't see it, but...
Well, Mike Tomlin said he did.
Yeah.
But, I'm not sure.
But apparently, maybe things are moving in the right direction. We'll see what happens. But no news from Cam, because Cam did not talk in the locker room.
Yeah, and Mike Tomlin said you'd have to ask him when someone said, does this mean there's been a change in... And it doesn't even necessarily have to be movement on the negotiation front. It could also be Cam saying, all right, it's getting close now to the season. I want to be back in some capacity. If you remember, Ray, OTAs last year, 2024, he took the stance of, knowing that he wanted a new deal, he stayed away, and then he couldn't help himself. And he was even coming back for the voluntary portion of the offseason. So even sometimes when Cam wants to posture and try to gain some leverage, sometimes he can't help himself.
I think part of it, Brian, is a team captain, and I think maybe if you go out there and show you are going to practice and be available, maybe that would get some more movement towards what he wants in the end. And I think that's probably a few more $1 million up front than what he's already gotten this year. And he's already gotten $13 million in a signing bonus. So we'll see what happens. We still got, 3 weeks until the first game. There's plenty of time for the situation to resolve itself. But significant that at least he was out there in a different capacity than he was yesterday.
And clearly TJ wanted to bring notice to it as well. And obviously, probably point out that he was there. His buddy and his fellow captain was kind of putting the team first. And make sure you give him a nice little pay bump too. So they're all on the same page. I tend to think Mike Tomlin is on Cam Heyward's side in that as well. I think the coach is usually going to be more player friendly because it's not his salary cap he really needs to worry about.
And also, it's been interesting. Chris Boswell's hold-in kind of went on the same timeline as Cam Heyward's. That kind of ended quietly when he kicked in the preseason game against the Bucs. It turns out Mike Tomlin said yesterday he was actually scheduled to kick PATs and field goals, but that plan was scrapped when Christian Kuz got injured. So, Chris, I think the Steelers are going to take care of Chris next year. I think he obviously came back quietly. I don't know that Cam would come back quietly. I think what you said today, I think these players are trying to posture for Cam to get him paid. But, certainly noteworthy that he seems to be wading back into the waters a little bit in terms of his participation.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin also did not address a question about whether Gabe Davis was at the facility today, former Bills and Jaguars receiver. Jerry Dulac reported that it's really a medical follow-up. I'm also hearing that it was kind of a progress report, see if he's getting any closer to being able to play, because they had him in the building for a free agent visit back in May or June, I guess, during OTAs or mini camp. So I don't think this is hey, we're scrambling because we don't like what we're seeing. We need to start getting Gabe Davis some reps immediately, and that it's an imminent signing. No, I don't think that's the case, and Mike Tomlin certainly brushed it off. But, more to the point, they do have this game coming up, and I don't know about you, Ray. I kind of assumed that Mike Tomlin was going to take the same tact as he did in the first two, but he said the only guys he's rolling out are Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, the only healthy guys, Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, Cam Heyward, and TJ Watt. So you might see that reshaped secondary of Jalen, Ramsey, Darius, Slay, Deshaun Elliott, Juan Thornhill, Chuck Clark, Joey Porter Jr.
Two of your oldest players on the team, actually your two oldest players on your team, and then your two highest paid players on the team. So that makes sense, right? You're not going to put those guys at risk for injury, but I think a lot of us were assuming that, the guys who didn't play in the first two games wouldn't play again in this game against the Panthers. But listen, there's a long stretch there now. The way the preseason is situated now, there's a lot of downtime between the final preseason game and the regular season opener. I think it's actually good for some of these guys to get some playing time. They're going to come back, and they're scheduled right now to practice on Saturday and Sunday. They'll actually practice through next Wednesday, and then they'll have an NFL mandated 4 days off before game week, and the Steelers open against the Jets on September 7th. So, I think it's noteworthy that some of these guys are going to get out there for the first time. I'm sure Mike Tomlin and those coaches will be keeping their fingers crossed that none of those guys get injured.
Yeah, and Tomlin also said it's subject to change based on what the Panthers are doing. I've already looked into that. Dave Canales, their second-year head coach, said the starters are not going to play in the third preseason game. So I don't even know who the Panthers' backup quarterback is these days, Ray, but I'm pretty sure Bryce Young's not going to be out there trying to throw hole shots against Jalen Ramsey and Deshaun Elliott. So maybe Mike Tomlin will still back off of that. But I was kind of beating the drum for, I think this new look secondary needs to get out there and actually communicate with each other while the live bullets are flying, so to speak. I guess stay tuned. Intrigue builds for Thursday's preseason game number 3.
And along that line of thinking, Jalen Ramsey actually talked today for the first time during training camp. Now, he talked to us on report day, but since they've been practicing, this was his first interview today. And we all knew Jalen.
Anybody ask him why?
Nobody did ask him why.
That would have been an interesting question.
Nobody did, but, we kind of know that he's a guy who can play outside in the slot free safety. We knew that coming in. He said it's been challenging here because I think the Steelers are so multiple that he could actually play all three of those positions on the same drive. Right? If they open him base, he's going to be in the back end.
Sure.
If they go to some sub packages, he's probably going to be in the slot or the outside. So he's played those positions in the past. But I think it was more, okay, we need you here now. You're going to play outside corner mostly, but you could dabble in these other areas. With the Steelers, I think there's a lot more thinking that has to go on, and he said that's actually been a challenge for him.
Yeah, I'm sure, and I suppose we'll cross this bridge when we get to it, but will he shadow Garrett Wilson week 1 at the Jets? I don't know. Maybe we'll have a chance to ask him, or maybe not if we only talk to him once a month. So
we'll have to get a scouting report from Aaron Rodgers on Garrett Wilson. Right?
Yeah, they certainly have a relationship that goes back a couple of years. But all right, well, that was all for today. For Ray Fittipaldo, for Chris Carter, I'm Brian Batko. Appreciate you checking us out on the Post-Gazette Sports Network on YouTube, and we'll catch you soon.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.